Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on today's video. Today I thought I would throw on a knit dress, put on a blazer, and talk about spring style. I know I have been neglecting my petite community on here and I am so sorry for that. I know it's been a few months since my last petite styling video, but I thought I would hop back on the train today and share with you my spring style tips for petites. If you are new here, hi, my name is Haley and I am 4'11", so I definitely have some experience in styling myself in a way that is flattering to my smaller figure, and that's basically what my hope is for you guys watching my videos. I hope that you find inspiration through these style tips that I share. These are obviously the things that work for me, right? And everybody has different body sizes and proportions and things like that, so some of these may not work for you, and that's totally okay. I just want to give you guys an idea of how I, as a petite, style myself for this specific season. So do not feel like this is the end all be all and that you have to follow every single rule or tip that I share. You definitely don't need to. Wear what you feel good in and what makes you feel confident. That is what fashion is all about. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so the very first style guideline that I follow in the spring season has to do with florals. And obviously, you know, with spring comes spring blooms and florals and all of the pretty things outside. And so it's natural for florals to just kind of gravitate back into the fashion world. And they're really, really beautiful. I find myself actually wanting to wear more florals now that I've gone through Project 333, because I realize that I feel so good when I'm in a really pretty floral piece that's maybe been hand drawn or painted or something like that. I just think it's really amazing how fashion is pretty much like art, but that's totally not what I'm trying to talk about here. The idea with wearing florals as a petite is to make sure that the scale of the pattern is on a smaller scale. So we don't want to be wearing like huge gigantic daisies on our bodies because it's not proportionate to our size, and often doing that can actually overwhelm our figures. Actually, most times a bigger pattern actually overwhelms a petite figure because it's not proportionate to our sizing and our measurements. So my guideline is that I just stick to patterns that are definitely on a smaller scale, nothing bigger than 2 to 3 inches. The next guideline that I have for myself has to do with balloon sleeves and just bigger sleeves in general. I think that peasant blouses and balloon sleeves and just things that are very flowy in the arm area come out quite often in the spring season, and these are fantastic. I think they're really beautiful. I have definitely worn my fair share of balloon sleeves, but I realized looking back on what I was wearing that a lot of the time the sleeve was actually too big for my body type because the blouse would be, you know, from H&M and it wouldn't be from a petite line. So the proportions would be for somebody of a taller height. So when you're wearing a balloon sleeve or something bigger in the sleeves in general, just make sure that it is, you know, maybe from a petite clothing line so that the proportions are right, or, you know, just take a good look at it in the mirror and make sure that it's not overwhelming your body. If your arms are bigger than, say, your like torso area, then the sleeve is probably a little bit too big. So that's just something that I keep in mind when I am going for those larger sleeved tops. Another thing that I do in the springtime and also going into the summer and early fall times are showing a little bit more skin in my chest area. So you guys can see I'm actually doing that with this outfit here, and I've got these really broad shoulders in the blazer that I'm wearing. It's definitely an oversized piece, but by having some more skin showing in the chest area, it actually helps to balance out the proportions and it contributes to that illusion of height because it makes my neck look a little bit longer. And when you're a petite, the illusion of height is everything. If you're actually trying to look a little bit taller, if that's not what your goal is, then totally ignore this. But for me, I do like to, you know, just make sure my proportions are looking balanced. And so showing a little bit more skin in the spring season is definitely doable. The next type of item that I wear in the spring season are high-waisted pants, trousers, denim jeans, skirts, literally anything that I own for the bottom half of my body is going to be high-waisted. And the reason why is very similar to the previous guideline that I shared with you. It's because it helps to create an illusion of height. So depending on what your proportions are, I know that some petites have short legs and a long torso, or some ladies have, you know, longer legs and a short torso. For me, I feel like my proportions are a little bit balanced in that sense, so I am definitely grateful for that, but I do still like to wear a high-waisted pant because it makes my legs look longer, and I just think that's such an amazing hack in the fashion industry when it comes to high-waisted pants, because who doesn't want longer legs, you know what I mean? Now, when it comes to dresses and skirts in the spring and summer season, I definitely try my best to shop only from petite labels, or at least clothing that is made for shorter women, because oftentimes in dresses, for example, the waistlines are not aligned with a petite body type because the torsos are longer or the legs are longer, and it just doesn't match up properly to where our actual waists land. So when I am shopping for a dress, or when I'm, you know, choosing something from my wardrobe, I always try to make sure that the waistband, or at least the waist area of the dress, is landing right at the proper area of my body, because that just allows the proportions to look a little bit cleaner and a little bit more balanced. And if you're wearing something that isn't lined up with your waist, just take for an example like an A-line dress. Imagine if the band around the waist was sitting on your like hip area. It just wouldn't look right, you know? It just looks off balance and as if the item doesn't actually fit you properly. So I do try to stick to those petite ranges and items that are made specifically for shorter women. Otherwise, you know, it's easy enough to just go and get something tailored, but who wants to spend the extra dollars on that? I know I don't. So definitely opting for petite collections, or just make sure when you're trying items on or buying dresses that you are, you know, taking a look at where the waistlines actually land. Now, another thing that we can do with our skin is show a little bit more of our midriff area. You guys have seen on my Instagram page, if you follow me, that I love wearing a high-waisted pant with like a bra top and a blazer, or even just a button-up blouse on top, because I think it's such a cool way to, I guess, get some youthfulness in the outfit without looking like sloppy and not put together. It is totally possible to wear a bra top and still look professional in a way. I just love the balance between wearing a nice tailored trouser and then something a little bit more showy on top. And by showing a little bit more skin in the midriff, again, it just helps to create that illusion of height. And if you are wearing a top that also shows a bit more neck, it's just a super flattering look for petites. Just make sure that you are wearing a high-waisted bottom if you are going to wear a bra top, because if you're wearing something lower, then there's even more skin showing, and then it kind of defeats the purpose of looking professional and sophisticated. Now back to the topic of skirts and dresses. If we are going to wear, or if I am going to wear something that is of a mid-length, like a midi skirt or a midi dress, then I always try to make sure that there is a slit at least in one spot on that item, because if we are just wearing, you know, a midi skirt or a midi dress that has absolutely no movement and doesn't show any of our legs, then it can easily overwhelm our entire figure and just kind of swallow us, if that makes sense. So I always try to make sure that there is at least a slit in the very back, or even on both sides of the skirt or the dress. And with some like bodycon dresses and skirts, you don't always need to, you know, follow this guideline with a slit. However, it will always just create that illusion of height if you do have a little bit more skin showing. And last but not least, with footwear, I always aim to wear something that is going to elongate my legs. And the best way to do that is with a nude shoe or something that is definitely more on the strappier side, so shows a little bit more skin. And the idea here is just that your foot is going to blend in with your ankle and your leg a little bit better, and then the leg looks longer in that sense. So wearing strappy sandals, strappy flip-flops, or even just a shoe that is a similar color tone to your own skin tone is definitely key in creating that illusion of height. And there you have it. Those are my spring style tips for petites. I hope you enjoyed this video or maybe learned something from it. And if you did, as always, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't done so already. Before I close out this video, I would love to know, do you follow any of these petite style guidelines in the spring and summer season? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.